8 years have passed since the night that changed my life forever. It all started one night when my husband, Tom, discovered I was having an affair with my boss, David. It wasn't a random discovery. His suspicions had built over time. The late nights at the office, the unexpected business trips, and the emotional distance growing between us had all added up. Still, nothing could have prepared me for the look on his face when he confronted me with the truth. The affair wasn't a romantic escape or some love story. It was a string of poor decisions made during a tough phase in our marriage. I had been working at the company for 5 years. David was charismatic, successful, and seemed to understand the frustration I felt at home in a way Tom didn't. What began as harmless conversation turned into something more. I knew it was wrong, but the secrecy gave me a rush I mistook for something real. I told myself it was worth it. I was wrong. That night, Tom found the emails, explicit and undeniable proof of my betrayal. I didn't deny anything. There was no point. The pain in his eyes, the anger, the heartbreak, it was too much to take in. He left the house immediately and didn't return for 2 days. Those were the longest 2 days of my life. When he came back, it was only to pack a bag and leave again. That time, for good. The following months were a blur. I took a leave of absence from work. I couldn't face David, couldn't walk into that office pretending everything was normal. Tom filed for divorce quickly. I didn't fight it. I had broken our marriage, and I knew I couldn't undo the damage. I moved into a small apartment across town, somewhere no one knew my name. For the first time in years, I wanted it that way. 6 months later, the divorce was finalized. We had no children, so the legal process was simple. Emotionally, it was anything but. Our families had known each other for years. The fallout reached far beyond just the two of us. Friends chose sides. Some chose silence and slowly drifted away. The loneliness was overwhelming, but I knew I'd created it myself. Eventually, I went back to work, though not at David's company. I couldn't bear the whispers, the judgment in people's eyes. I resigned and found a job at a small firm where no one knew my past. It was a fresh start, though the shame still followed me quietly wherever I went. I threw myself into work to keep my mind from dwelling on what I'd lost. But I couldn't escape the reality. I had destroyed the one thing that had truly mattered. In the years that followed, I worked on putting my life back together. I started therapy to understand why I'd made those choices, why I had risked my marriage for something that meant so little. The affair wasn't just the problem. It was a symptom of everything that had been wrong long before David came into the picture. I had to admit to myself that I hadn't communicated with Tom. I hadn't voiced my hurt. I hadn't tried to repair what was broken. I had taken the easy way out, searching for validation in the wrong place. Tom moved on. Through mutual friends, I heard he started dating again about a year after the divorce. Eventually, he met someone serious, Emily. She was nothing like me. She was kind, steady, sincere. From everything I heard, they were happy, and part of me was glad for him. He deserved someone who could give him what I couldn't. 3 years after the divorce, I saw Tom again at a friend's wedding. It was the first time we'd crossed paths since the night he left. We exchanged polite greetings, but the distance between us was unmistakable. I saw traces of pain in his eyes, and my guilt came rushing back. I didn't know if he'd ever forgive me. I wasn't sure if I'd ever forgive myself. I stayed in therapy and eventually joined a support group for people who had experienced infidelity, both those who had been betrayed and those who had betrayed. Listening to their stories changed something in me. I realized the affair hadn't just hurt Tom. It had damaged me, too. It warped how I saw myself. I had to face that to begin healing. By the 5th year after the divorce, I finally felt a sense of calm. I started a small business with a friend for my new job, something I had always dreamed of but never dared to try. For the first time in years, I felt like I was creating something meaningful. It wasn't a replacement for the life I had lost, but it was a new beginning. Around that time, I learned Tom had proposed to Emily. I saw the photos online. My heart felt full and empty all at once. I was happy for him. He had found the love and peace I couldn't give. But I also mourned what I had thrown away, the life that might have been if I had been more honest, more brave, less selfish. 8 years have now passed since that night. Tom and Emily are married. They recently had their first child. I sent them a card when I heard the news, just a simple congratulations and well wishes. I didn't expect a reply, but a few weeks later, Tom reached out. He thanked me for the card and asked if I'd meet him for coffee. He made it clear this wasn't about getting back together. He just wanted closure. When we met, it felt strange and familiar at the same time. We talked about our lives, where we had ended up, how much we had changed. Tom told me that while the affair had deeply wounded him, he had also come to understand that we had both contributed to the breakdown of our marriage. He admitted he hadn't always been attentive, hadn't noticed how disconnected we had become. He said he had taken our relationship for granted. His words didn't excuse what I'd done, but hearing them eased something inside me. For the first time, I didn't feel like the only one at fault. He told me he had forgiven me, not for me, but for his own peace. It had taken years, but he'd come to realize that clinging to anger was only hurting himself. He had a new life now, a family, and he wanted to be fully present in it. We parted that day with a quiet understanding. No drama, no big emotional moment. Just two people who had shared a part of their lives and had finally let go. Today, I still run the business I started. It's grown beyond anything I expected. I've started dating again carefully, thoughtfully. I'm more honest now about what I need in a relationship and more aware of what I can offer. I've come to understand that true happiness isn't found in moments of excitement or temporary escapes. It lives in the quiet, consistent effort of creating a life you can stand behind, a life built on honesty, intention, and self-respect. The affair was the most painful mistake I've ever made. But in that pain, I uncovered more about myself than I ever thought possible. I'm not the same person I was 8 years ago, and for that, I'm genuinely thankful. I've learned how to be honest with others, but more importantly, with myself. I've learned to confront my flaws instead of hiding from them. I've learned how to grow from them, too. The past is unchangeable. I will always carry the consequences of my choices, but with time, that weight has become easier to carry. Though I lost my marriage, I found something I didn't know I was missing, a deeper understanding of who I am. And sometimes, that's the hardest and most important discovery of all.